Yeah.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the GoldFish Report. I'm your host, Louisa. Today is Saturday. No, today's Friday. Just kidding. November 1st.
One of those days.
November 1st. And we're doing an impromptu with Steve in Austria and Tim Emslie in Australia. How are you guys?
Good. We're good.
Yeah, very good.
Not as windy as where he is.
So Tim is showing us the location where there's shipwrecks in Australia. So I'll let you have it, Tim, and Steve, because you're from Australia, you can jump in there and talk to him about it.
Sure.
Go for it.
Yeah, so I'm located between Port Fairy and Warrnambool right now, and I'm directly south of, I think they call it Tower Hill, which is an old volcanic lake and volcanic rim. Out in the water over there is a rock that locates where it is, and I was able to, using someone else who's already done all the hard work locating the famous mahogany ship. I believe I'm standing on top of a buried ship that has had someone took a piece of wood from it. I can't remember when, but apparently it's in a museum in Canberra, and it's been carbon dated to the 1500s.
Right.
And there's speculation it's a Portuguese vessel from 1522 that ran aground. There's also a theory that it's a Spanish ship from 1421. And it's also possible that it's a Chinese junk from, again, same date, 1421. DNA tests of the local Aboriginal people in the area have confirmed, apparently, without seeing the official documentation, but there's a Chinese genetical marker in the Aboriginal people, which gives credence to the idea that, and the Aboriginal people, they have a story of what they described as yellow people turning up here. And yellow people, usually it's a term without meaning anything derogatory, but it's often being used to describe the yellow race, which is people who of Asian white skin with a sort of a yellowy tinge compared to white Europeans who are sort of pinkish white. I mean, look at me.
Yeah, they found many artifacts of Chinese ships on the coast of Australia. And when I was in Portugal a couple of months ago, they were telling me in the library in Coimbra that they were well before the English there in Australia. They know it. They have their own records. And so, I mean, this whole story of Captain Cook in 1770 is complete crap, actually. And they know it. So it's still not taught in the schools.
Yes. I told people the other day, a fellow co-worker who's of partial Indigenous, he's part Indigenous, and I thought he'd be interested in knowing. I told him that Captain Cook was already using
pre-existing maps. Exactly. Well, I can tell you that's true, because last week I was in the National Library. It was open on the National Day here in Austria. They opened up the National Library. Anybody could just walk in, and they had a globe from 1683, and it had Australia well marked out, everything except the southeast part of Australia was mapped out by the Dutch. So
okay,
it's clear. It's clear.
Yes, it's really, really interesting. I also heard a theory that the Vatican was involved with all the countries that were under the Roman Catholic Church as far as giving power to the Vatican. And the Vatican told the Dutch, go to this place, you can have the west side, and Britain, you can have the other side. And then the Dutch turned up in Western Australia, and it didn't sort of work out for them, but then the English ended up putting their flag up. And this is not to mention also potential Egyptian, Phoenician visits, or even Viking, and there's Celtic symbols and things. There's been artifacts found here that are of an international nature, that are of prehistory to white Europeans. So it's fascinating.
So what are you going to do? You're going to do some digging there? What's going on?
No, somebody else has already done some digging, so we know we're in the right place because I'll show you. So I'm walking down into a little bowl depression.
Yep.
So this angle I'm on here, I'm sort of on a slight offset angle to parallel to the beach. So the beach is running along here, and the hole is sort of like, if you can see my hand here, sort of goes across here and comes up here. It's hard to see what I'm doing on video, but basically imagine where I'm standing now and what you're looking at here. There's an elongated rectangular shape, and I'm at one of the short sides of that rectangle now.
Right.
And this indentation is, sort of a rectangular shaped hull of some description. And this sunken depression would be at the center. And we know we're in the right spot based on some images that I was able to take images of, but someone's been using some sort of augering tool and all over the place in here. Someone's got something going on here, and they've marked out this with these plant, what do you call them? Plant pegs.
Markers.
Like
what are they? Oh, plant pegs. Okay.
Plant marker pegs or something. So
okay.
If they've stuck that in there, and they've been doing test holes all over the place, whoever it is, which is
right.
I don't know what the rules and regulations are around what environmental and stuff like that, because I thought, if you've got a bulldozer in here, people would get upset. But there's a particular interest towards this marker here because there's a heap of their pegs in it. Someone's put that there so they can't lose it. So I'm assuming and speculating that hole may be a success in being able to contact part of the ship.
Yeah.
Itself in there, which is really, really interesting. That I can show you on a diagram what it looks like using another phone.
Well, it's quite amazing. I mean, where you are is the southeastern part of Australia. The Tasman Sea is very rough. Imagine any ships at that time. I mean, it's a long way from anywhere, really. I mean, okay, China's not that far, but it's really, for the Europeans to come down there, it's a long way, especially if they're not sure what's going to be there. They must have had some sort of maps.
Yeah, it's for certain. I think the whole Captain Cook story is...
oh, no, it's complete crap, yeah.
It's the Britain colonist Queen Victoria giving credence to its own empire.
Yeah.
And even though that's no longer really a validity, it still stands from an ancestral point of view, which is a shame. The truth is the truth, and sometimes conquerors and colonizers like to swing, like you said, in Portugal, they've got information that...
Oh, they do, and also the Piri Reis maps. The admiral, I think it was an Ottoman admiral, had maps of Antarctica and without ice, and ancient maps. They were copies of even more ancient maps. So this information was there. So these guys weren't just sailing into nothing. They had an idea of where they were going. I believe.
Yes.
Yeah. History has to be
Can you still hear
corrected.
me well?
It's a little windy. Yeah, it's a little bit windy.
Yeah. But this picture here, if you can see it, so where I'm standing, and it's in reverse, unfortunately, but where I'm standing is right now is at the short end of that larger rectangular body, where it looks like that big roundish hole there as well.
Okay.
It's coming in on that angle from the corner. So I'm standing on that.
What size was the ship then? Do you have any idea of the size?
38 meters in length,
right.
And another object or a part of it is 110 feet, 30
meters across.
33 meters. There's one object that's 33 meters in length, and another object that's 38. And I don't know what the smaller object is that looks sort of like a bottle shape, like a gas bottle shape, elongated like the old soda stream things. But
yeah.
they described it. the hull was missing the deck. So maybe the deck was somehow shifted or something. But based on where it is and based on time, like the beach, it would have beached itself out in the water. It wouldn't have been right on the beach because it would have been too shallow. So the beach itself over 400 or 500 years or whatever the timing is has obviously moved out.
Right.
Moved back, and the dunes have then swept up over the wreck and completely buried it. Completely.
Can you kneel down a little bit so you're not like in the wind so much?
Yep.
Maybe you can kneel down. Steve, you're saying you know that area to be quite rough. The seas over there.
Oh yeah, the seas are the Tasman Sea is very rough. That basically the next stop is Tasmania, then Antarctica. It's not that far. The very rough waters down there and cold. I think Tim can confirm that. I'm sure the wind's cold.
It is a very cold day.
Oh, you look fit.
Well, I've had to put my jacket on, and yeah, normally it'd just be t-shirt weather. I mean, we've had days of 33 degrees.
Oh,
Celsius
right. Okay.
Here in places like Sydney and so on.
Well, how did you find that, Tim? Is it well known? I had no idea there was a shipwreck down there.
I've heard stories about it for years, and I can't remember what triggered me to look into it, but I just simply typed it in on Google and read some stuff, and then I went on YouTube. And on YouTube was this local man in his 70s. I can't think of his name. But he has a 15-minute YouTube documentary about it,
right.
showing the exact location based on stories and so on. And then he shows a Google Earth image showing the outlines, with the idea that even though it's buried under the sand, there's an imprint that there's a sort of a marker where the ground actually shows.
You can see an outline, yeah.
It deviates, yeah, even though it's buried under whatever depth of sand.
Yeah.
Yeah, so based on that information, I knew it was enough to actually come here and easily find it. So, in which I have, like he's marked it out with an X marks the spot, and I come here and I stood in the spot that I think I took the photo from up on top of this high peak here, which is the highest peak in the dune in the location. Where I took a photo across to this little spot just here, right here in this little bowl, as being one of the objects, and the other object running down through here. Where I'm standing on top of, basically standing on top of the boat right now.
Wow. Okay. Well, let's hope something's found out about it. It's such a fascinating thing to find out the true history
of bring your shovel, Tim?
the continent.
Did you bring your shovel to dig for treasure?
Well, I was making a joke at my workplace about borrowing some of the drilling equipment and putting what we call some hollow flight augers down, which, as you go down, the inside of the casing, the drill rods, the inside doesn't fill up with stuff because you put some pressure, like it could be air or water, and that way, as soon as you get down there, as soon as you get on something, you'd know you could possibly core a sample of the wood, and then retrieve it in
carbon dated. Yeah.
You get your company to do that, Tim. That's what you do. You core samples, right?
Well, yeah, but I think there'd be a lot of red tape to go through. You couldn't just turn up and do it. I mean, you could turn up and try and do it, but I think you'd have
right.
It'd be like
Historical.
someone bust you and then say you're doing something. It'd be like entering, like disturbing, what do you call it? An environment, like the creatures that live here. There'd be an environmental protection. I think it's environmentally protected.
Is it
possibly.
Private land?
No, I think it's public, but it may be owned by
You mean Crown land?
Crown or Shire or something. Yeah. I don't know.
All right. Okay. All right. Interesting. I had no idea that was there.
Did you bring your metal detector? Did you bring your metal detector, Tim?
No, I didn't. I didn't even bring my pirate hat. But,
did you bring your peg leg?
Can you see that there?
A parrot.
Did you bring your peg leg?
Yeah. No. It's like I've got both legs. See.
You got your peg leg.
Well, it was Halloween.
Yeah. See, here's the It's quite high here. Like it's a big drop down there. Like that's like 4 or 5 meters to the beach. That's the height we're at here.
Yeah. Arr.
Watch out!
Sorry. What's so funny?
You gotta watch out for that scurvy.
Yeah, Louisa's having a seizure.
You gotta watch out for scurvy over there.
Yeah, that's it.
Scurvy. Hey, let me check.
Check your vitals.
That's it.
Sorry, we're just having some fun.
Yeah. Apparently, I heard the Chinese when they had their vessels, which were 3 times longer than the European vessels that came later.
They had citrus on board, I'm sure.
I heard a rumor that they grew rice and some veggies or something on board, so they never got scared. They had some sort of hydroponic thing, built into the top, so it got the sunlight. I don't know how it would go with all the salt in the air. Okay, the salt moisture. I can't remember the number of men, but apparently they had concubine type women on board too. So all the men
for the entertainment. Yeah, I get it. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
No television back then.
No, but
unbelievable.
Can you see this in here? Like this is the buried boat right here. Right here in this little bowl enclave.
Yeah, all right. Good. Well,
can't prove it because we can't see it, but they're saying it's here. This is it isn't anywhere else. This is it. So
okay.
It's like they know where to dig, and someone has definitely been digging here with this hole. See, you can see it's a hole.
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough. All right.
Yeah.
Well, good luck. I better go. It's late here, but well, good luck, Tim. I look forward to hearing the rest.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hoping to go to a volcano today that's actually got a lake on it, because there's a lot of extinct volcanoes here. So I'm going to go to this volcano called Badge Bin or something.
Fantastic.
Badge Bin Volcano Lake.
Okay. All right. Well, take care. I better skip. You guys continue. I'll be in touch. Ciao for now.
Thanks for joining. Hey, Steve.
Yeah. Ciao, Louisa. Ciao.
Before you go, can you give us any kind of news update over there in Austria?
No updates here. Look, I've been following the news in the States and England and France and Germany and Austria and Italy. But look, they're busy with their own stuff over here. Brexit is the main theme over here at the moment. The what's happening with the impeachment with Trump is not being reported fairly over here. It's pretty much controlled press. So especially in the German-speaking countries, it's very one-sided towards the Democrat sort of storyline, so it's not balanced reporting at all. As I said, the Brexit issue is a huge thing, big circus over there in the UK. I think they're going to push it through, and that's going to change a lot of things over here. But as we're hearing here that there are sort of murmurings of the bank runs in China, so that's pushed the price of gold up. We'll see. That's certainly in the alternative press over here as well. So look, no real. It's all no real news to report except that yeah, let's hope that things, the news starts to report things more in a more balanced fashion. That's what I'm hoping.
Well, I mean,
that might be a while off.
Yeah.
It was noted that Angela Merkel admitted that her multicultural
Policy wasn't working. Yeah.
A complete failure.
Well, she just had there was a huge by-election in
which we knew.
in Turingen. Yes, of course, but they got trounced in the election, and she lost squarely in the southeastern part of Germany. Okay. And so that's why she's finally having to admit it, because she hasn't suffered in the polls at all, basically, surprisingly, since she's had this policy. Well, so it's just the first real sign that she's suffering politically. So she has to say something.
Okay, well, Steve, thanks for joining us.
No worries. All right, take care.
Yes, sir.
All the best. Ciao to you again, Steve. Stay warm. Take care. Ciao.
We'll see you soon, Steve. You too. Stay warm over there. It's getting cold over in Europe. So it's getting a little windy over there, Tim.
Yes. When I'm down in what they say is shit, it's actually quite still when I go down in there. So I'll go back in here. But I'll probably have to get off soon as well. But
we'll just make this a little quick one for our viewers to give them a little treat, so they could learn something about Australia there.
Yeah, definitely. So, I'm just thinking I could set the phone up and sort of walk it out if that's of any interest to people. But I'm basically standing right in the middle of the boat right now, and it's the most quietest place too. And this indentation is probably not just coincidental by nature, but it's because the boat's actually here. The sand has actually made a certain pattern to some degree because of the existence of the boat below us, I'd say. So, wow. Yeah. I've been trying to keep up with what's going on, but I heard the Israeli embassies have been closing all over the place, and there's been problems with the banks. So I speculate that's indicative of the cabal is starting to collapse of its power structure that resides hidden in the shadows of the Israeli nation. Yeah, so I'm not talking about the Israeli citizens here. I'm talking about the rogue cabal group that uses Israel and the US, for its purposes. And if the embassies are shutting down all over the place, which is a political event, I feel like it could mean that there's a shift of the who sits at the power of control within the governance of Israel, behind, not so much in government, but behind the wheel of the government, the hidden hand, the wizard behind the curtain, is having a change of, that's what it's like.
I have the ambassador to, let's see, this is the ambassador of the state of Israel to Ukraine, Ambassador Joel Lyon. He has stated that it was a strike, that all of the 130 representations in the world will stay closed. This was on October 30th. This has been forced by the officials of the Ministry of Finance. We are fighting for our status, our professional future, and the survival of the service. And then as of yesterday, October 31st, said that the service was suspended by court order until Friday. So all Israeli embassies and consulates are back to work on their regular schedule. So it has ended, but very interesting that it came just as al-Baghdadi was taken out. And the reality is, Tim, most of the politicians in the United States have dual Israeli citizenship. So so there's definitely some draining of the swamp going on, I'd say, like you said.
Yeah, definitely.
How is it being portrayed over there in Australia in the news, or who people you're talking to?
There's nothing in the mainstream news that's indicative, obviously, and it's very, very confusing when you look at our leadership. Someone asked me the other day about our Prime Minister, and all I can say right now from observation is that based on policies that are being pushed, it would indicate to me that Australian leaders are still in hostage to the hidden power of the cabal. Otherwise, they wouldn't be doing what they're doing. And I'd say if Trump is trying to, leverage them to join the alliance, although our Prime Minister did mention the word alliance when he was with Trump over 3 times, which was sort of a clue to say, oh, maybe this is changing, and he's, but maybe he's sort of I feel like our leadership may be sort of in a tug between, I want to go with Trump, but there's hell to pay if I do. So I'm sort of still hostage to this other group. And maybe it's not safe right now to abandon the old ship.
No pun intended.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it feels like they're still in hostage and can't. It hasn't really been relinquished yet back to true freedom. I think our government, our leadership is in some sort of secret hostage crisis. Even though Trump has obviously informed him of some level, it feels like they don't feel safe enough yet to represent any sort of new movement, unless they're just letting things play out to make it look like it's the old, and they're slowly sort of mitigating towards moving aside but playing out the old thing for safety reasons. Your guess is as good as mine, but it's hard to see. The mainstream media doesn't show anything indicative. Like, they're trying to bring in mandatory vaccinations in Western Australia.
Oh, geez. That's not good.
Like, that's forced. We used to think of ourselves as some sort of democracy in whatever sense or form that is, but it's like a totalitarian 1984 communist sort of regime when if you want to live in this state, you have to go and get this stuff stuck in your arm, and otherwise you're an illegal citizen and you're doing the wrong thing. But they have to vote it in, and I think a lot of people are really up in arms over it. They don't want it, so I think they're experimenting. They're choosing Western Australia as an experiment to see if people will actually accept it. And once one state goes, usually all the other states of Australia will follow through. So we can't let it get into one, or that's it for the rest of Australia,
You're doing what you can to wake people up there, Tim. I don't know what else you can do. I mean, everybody's,
Yeah.
People have to, I don't know what to say. It's going to happen when, all of a sudden people start getting sick, and, like here, babies die a lot of times after they get the massive amount of, injections that aren't even necessary. I mean, nobody dies from measles, you know what I mean? It's like, give me a break. Why do, so you get fever and you get sick. It's like, look, it's going to be, people.
And we vaccinate our dogs and cats who are domestic pets who are around us. But when you go outside and look in the tree and see all the different birds, they're not being vaccinated. So what's wrong with the picture? You know what I'm saying? Like, the nature's still taking care of itself, and there's no vaccination program for the bees, the birds, like the bears. You've got bears over there somewhere. I mean, no one's going around vaccinating all the wild bears out there in the woods, are they? It just doesn't make sense that we sort of say we need to do this, but the rest of nature, of which we are a part of and interacting with, is exempt from the necessity of this. So from that perspective, it doesn't make any bloody sense at all, does it?
No, not at all. And I think that we're at war, and I think that the deep state exists in every country. And I always say this on my POTUS reports. These are the people who were in control, and they don't want to get out. They want deregulation. There's still a push for the New World Order, and it's for Tim. What's going to happen is we have to have the 100th monkey effect. At some point, it's going to tip the scale, where there's going to be enough people that there's going to be a majority of people that get what's going on, and they're just we have to reject this collectively as a whole.
Yeah.
They're dividing us, Tim, and it's succeeding. They're dividing us. People are saying, "Oh, you're a conspiracy theorist." They're trivializing it, not even considering, the whether it's bona fide. And sadly, they're just following along with whatever the narrative is, rather than critical thinking and saying, "Wait a minute." And sadly, there's probably going to be a lot of people who die because of it.
Yes. Yes, so true. Yeah. I don't know what to do.
Hopefully they'll reject it, Tim, before it gets to that point. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, you're fine. Yep. Yeah, I'm hoping that with this change that's building up and coming, and it's really showing signs of getting to some sort of critical mass. So we would hope in that critical mass movement of the assumed alliance doing its thing, that before it's too late and before this can go too far, it will be stopped in its tracks, and the alternative way will get superimposed onto our future, in a way that is supportive of us. Like everything, everything, I was talking about it yesterday. I can't remember what the actual subject was, but it's never about the will of humanity and the people. It's always about money before people's rights, money before people's quality of life. It's just ridiculous that we live in a world where the quest for money of these groups and corporations or whatever is overriding the fundamental necessity of humans who have certain needs. And so the whole system is completely flawed, and it needs to, as everyone knows, go back to real community support of people and their true needs. So
well, I think people have to be pushed, Tim, until we all come together. So united we stand, divided we fall. And that's not just in America, that's globally, that's all of us. We have to stand together as the human race, or we're going to fall together as the human race.
Yes.
Well, thank you for sharing, this lovely, again, like last time you shared some beautiful areas of Australia with us, with the viewers. It's really nice of you to share that with all of us, and, giving us you have such a beautiful background there. It's so beautiful, Tim.
Yeah, it is nice here. I'm tucked down in this little enclave where I'm out of the wind, but, I've got the beach just there, and yeah, it's really, really nice here. I'll be heading off soon to go and check out a cave and a volcano.
Cool.
I believe. So
take some pictures and we'll screen share them next time.
Yeah, sure. Yep. I'll be onto it, and if I've got internet connection, I'll definitely do some filming while I'm there too. I'll go live if I get the opportunity to. So it'll be good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was great that Steve was able to jump in and join us, since he's a native Aussie too, and so the two of you really were able to talk about geography there.
And he seems to know a lot about it too. In fact, it intuitively felt apparent that on some level, there's an aspect of him, be it a past life or in the blood, as ancestrally. Yeah. There's something about him that he just, it was even like, when I was talking to him, it was like he could be the captain of a ship. You know that word, commander.
Yeah.
Commander Steve, you know. So somewhere in some past life or something, I can see him being a
totally.
captain of a ship. He's got that energy about him.
Definitely.
And,
do you want to
Steve, I'm profiling you.
did you want to give us a little Arnold on the way out?
Okay, I'll give it a go. So, well, here we are at the mahogany ship here in Victoria, Australia, and I cannot see any Terminators here at the mahogany ship here. But it's a very nice day. The clouds out here, and you know, it's okay. I'm out here in nature. Don't need electricity, just like over there in California. You don't have any electricity, so all the Teslas are not going to work, which is going to piss a lot of people off. But, yeah, how's that? Was that okay, or
that was
maybe
good.
I was
I mean, it was really good. You couldn't even hear your Australian accent behind it. You totally changed your phonology and your linguistics. It was good. And I told Steve about this, so he'll have to watch the interview to hear you say it, because he didn't get to hear you say that. So thanks for doing that Terminator for us.
Well, it might take me about 5 minutes to perfect it, to sort of work my in through practicing, but you know, it's like you got to build yourself up. I can't just instantly switch. I've got to play with it and hear myself, and then tweak it, and then get in the zone, and it's like you got to use a lot of focus.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
So
Tim,
it makes you wonder about.
I'm just saying that you did this for me earlier, and you went on for a little while, and it was really. Oh, you left me some voice messages, and they were really good.
That's right.
Actually, they do get better as you go and practice. You're definitely right about that. That's a lot of fun, Tim. Thanks for having fun with us. And on a light note, folks, okay? Wake up and laugh and be happy, stay united, not divided. Don't fall for the agenda, and we'll be able to stay here and enjoy more of Tim's reports from somewhere in Australia.
Yes.
Well, thanks.
And thanks for having me on.
Look how beautiful that is. That's nice.
Yeah.
Just beautiful.
Very shallow. It's good. Like the salt, the misty breeze.
Mm-hmm. Now, for people who aren't familiar with where that is that the northeastern section of Australia?
It's
the east
to the south.
Coast?
It's west of Melbourne.
Okay.
So it's west of Melbourne, heading westerly towards South Australia.
Okay.
And it's between Warrnambool. So you go Melbourne, Geelong, Warrnambool, Port Fairy, and then you get Mount Gambier, which is where there's some famous ancient volcanic lakes. There's something like, I don't know, 70 something like little volcano calderas spotted all over the landscape here. It was active as early as 8,000 years ago and very active 30,000 years ago. So it would have been what people go to New Zealand today to see these geysers, like, you know, like Yellowstone geysers and stuff. This place would have been littered with that sort of activity. And then it's all sort of dried up. So, you know, some people say, extinct, but other people are saying, no, dormant. So we have to keep in mind that it is possible that some of these places could wake up again. But people have built houses and whole towns right up against the edges of these extinct volcanoes.
Yeah.
What if they're not extinct and they're simply dormant? Some experts have actually said they could come back to life, which would be very interesting when there's a house 20 meters away.
Yeah, well, that's all you have to do is take a helicopter ride around the big island in Hawaii, and you'll see what happens. It's one house, right? All this lava flow down the side of Haleakala, and all these trees, they just look like toothpicks laying on the ground, you know. And there's this one house that somehow miraculously all the lava flowed around it, but nothing else, you know, survived. But it's amazing because, you know, it's like, how does that guy get to work and back? You know, maybe he takes a helicopter. I don't know.
They can latch on pretty tight, so I grabbed him behind the back of the neck. But yeah, it's a shame I didn't get that while we were still on.
No, I'm recording it.
Woo!
I'm recording it. Oh, he's not happy, Tim. You better not.
No,
Put him near your.
I'll put him back down. He'd be pretty cold too.
You know, it
hot
could be a female.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh, I see the blue tongue. Oh my God.
Yeah.
In your blue jacket. Oh. Hey, bugger.
Oh,
little bugger.
Sorry.
No, I've been recording.
Oh.
I just recorded that.
Sorry, is that got in there?
No. Oh, he's not happy. Oh.
No. There he is down. Yeah.
Where'd he go?
He's down here, but yeah, he's not liking it.
Yeah, don't get bit. That's okay. I'm still recording it, so I'll just add this on. I'll edit this in.
Yeah.
Tim's not gonna hurt you, little bugger. Look at that. Oh, look at that blue tongue. You can definitely see it. Yep. And
just to think that out there in space, a face like this is very, very common. Like
back up just a little bit, Tim.
With a human-like form.
Can you back him up
like
just
that,
a little bit?
Scales like that. Sorry?
Just back him up a little bit because it's not focusing on him. There you go.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, now you can see a little better. Ooh, he's not happy. Ooh.
Yeah.
Not a happy little guy.
It's very cold for him. He can't really do much until the sun gets on him. Oh. He's probably going to have to wait it out a few days. So that's what happens when you get this bipolar weather, because you get really hot and then all the creatures come out to utilize the heat of the sun, and then you get this cold drop, and he's like, you know.
You might want that fly on your jacket there, Tim. Oh, I just hit my microphone. You got a fly. Oh, there he goes. He's on you now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's a lot of flies around here.
Oh, I think he wants that fly. Did you see that tongue coming out when he saw that fly? Get it?
Flying too quick.
Okay. Well, thanks for sharing that. What's that called again?
Put him down. Yeah,
Tim,
I'll put him down now.
What's that called again?
A blue tongue lizard. Oh. Yeah, so there's a few different types of them, but I think there's maybe 3 or 4 different types of blue tongue lizards from different parts of Australia.
Cool.
Yeah, they got a diamond-shaped head. Yeah, interesting geometries. It's like, actually, the head's not that much different to a snake's head, you know, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, so he's definitely happy now.
That's cool. Oh, there
he
is.
There?
Yep. Yeah. Looking for some food. That is quite a blue tongue. You can really see that on this video too, Tim.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, you can really see it. It comes out good.
Yeah. Yeah, I just happened across him. Here I am, you know. I could have accidentally stood on him if I wasn't careful.
Yeah, exactly.
Now.
Well, you have anything else to share before I...
No, that's it.
Okay.
No, might run into something else, so I have to do a Steve Irwin and go, crikey.
Oh, no. Okay, folks, I hope you like that little postscript, that little coda at the end of our video. So we wanted to bring that to you so you could enjoy that with Tim on his exploration there. So thanks for sharing that, Tim. Thanks, viewers.
You're welcome.
So look, Tim, thanks a lot. Thanks for sharing that with us. It was a lot of fun. I hope our viewers
You're welcome.
And we'll probably have this published on Sunday, so or by Sunday, I would say, because it's late Friday night here in the New York area, and it's already Saturday where Tim is. So.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. It's really, really good to see you again and talk with you and be a part of this and share something interesting as well.
Oh, you bet.
And sort of connect it all in.
Okay, it was great, and I'm so glad we were able to catch Steve real quick, because it's quite late over in the Eastern Europe there. So it's quite late in Austria, and he was able to join us. And since the two of you are natives, I was like, I just let you have it, because that's it's the best thing to do. So you have a good time there, Tim, and we'll see you back on the GoldFish Report soon.
Yes. Okay. Thanks, Louise, and talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye, everybody, and thanks for viewing.
Bye-bye.
This concludes this